Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of EverythingAction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of November 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we have a ton of stuff to dive in this week. We've got a bunch of trailers. We've got the end of the SAG-AFTRA strike. We've got a Zelda movie on the way. We're going to dive into some spoilers for Friday Night Freddy's because Chris saw it. I saw it last week. Chris saw it this week. But let's kick things off with trailers. And we got the first trailer for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. We didn't really we didn't know the title until this week. It was just like Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. But now we know it's Frozen Empire. And obviously, yeah, the sequel to Afterlife. So all the cast from Afterlife are back, and all the OG casts are back as well. Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and then obviously joining Paul Rudd and McKenna Grace and Carrie Coon and Finn Wolfhard. And the new supernatural threat is that there is the death chill is sweeping across New York City. Some sort of supernatural freezing force that kills you. Your fear causes the freezing, and then if you're afraid of it, it freezes you to death. And there's some sort of ghost or supernatural force behind it.
But the problem is they established that the human reacts that way. Does that mean the environment is afraid?
Yeah, it's weird because it's the day after tomorrow, where it's instant freeze comes through. But then Dan Aykroyd, Ray is oh yes, the death chill. It's powered by fear, and last thing you see is your tear ducts freezing or whatever. I'm just glad it's something new, because I know
it's not the typical Ghostbuster. Some 18th century demon shows up. It's like a cloud.
Yeah, because I think we both enjoyed Afterlife, but definitely the last third of that movie is just that's my major complaint. Is just they're just literally doing the same shit again. They're doing the Gatekeeper and Zool and all and then Gozer and all that stuff.
It felt very safe, which was okay, but it didn't even bring in Ghostbusters 2 level of up in the stakes.
Yeah, well, I think they felt they had the course correct from 2016, and then bring it back to something more similar to the original ones, and have it
2016. So the 2016 one did something where it went too fast, too big scale.
Yeah.
If you think about it, I think that's their second ghost bust, right? It was the first incident, and then no one believes them, and then the giant one that okay, we have got a incel ghost to catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least in Ghostbusters, they worked their way up in the movie. They did a whole montage of them capturing other ghosts, and then they did a whole bunch of things. I might be wrong about 2016. Did they also have a montage of them capturing other ghosts?
I know they were researching. I know Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig were researching ghosts for a while, and then it's oh, they're real or something.
Yeah, but right after they made their trap, they captured one ghost that killed Bill Murray, I
think. And then there was there was a ghost in the subway that they were
trying to get. Did they catch that subway ghost?
And then there was the rock concert ghost. Remember? It was the gargoyle.
Yeah, but that kills Bill Murray.
One of them, yeah. And then it's so I think there was a couple, and then they eventually kind of stumble on the main plot, which is that the incel guy is causing ghosts to occur, or it wants to turn himself into a ghost or whatever the plot was.
I think he wanted to make a machine, and then his backup plan was becoming a ghost.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. It's not the most awful idea. I didn't mind. It's not my favorite, but I'm not one of those people that hates it purely on the characters and the fact that they're female. Let's make that clear. We
Mm-hmm.
we did not hate it based on that. But in this afterlife, and then what's happening is logical. Of the hey, they opened the original house back. You've got a whole new group. Though I do prefer if they had more members, not 2 kids and 2 adults.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a family affair now, which I'm not about. I'm like,
Did
half
yeah
on that.
did did like did Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon get like married now, or they're like dating? But then Paul Rudd's just like, well, I'll move to New York City with you guys. Like, I'll leave my school, my teacher job, whatever I was doing. Like,
I don't think they are living there. I think they're visiting.
they're just
My
visiting New
bet,
York, and it's like, oh shit, like supernatural things are happening again.
yeah. Well, my bet is that they liked where they were. They're close to Egon, like the memory of them, and plus,
Yeah,
weren't they like hilariously broke that they had to live in that shack that Egon had?
I, it was. I mean, they inherited it, but yeah, I don't know if there was like a like, well, wait, like this is the only thing we have. Like, we have to like move to this like shitty house.
I thought they did. I got to see it again. I got to like it's such a forgettable part, but it's their reason to be
Yeah,
there for the
I,
school year or the summer, the school
I
year.
I think Carrie Coon was like, she was like, I don't really have a job, or like my job, like I have a shitty job or something. Oh yeah, they got evicted from their they lived in Chicago. They got evicted, so it's like, well, we got to move into like Grandpa Egon's house because that's the only thing we have. That's like we could like that we own.
That makes sense. So, I mean, in this, it kind of picks up later. There's some time has passed. I don't. It doesn't really. It's not the plot point to know where they live or just visiting, but the fact that they are taking on ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a fan of just like the core group initially. Like I feel like it's way too family friendly of a group first, not just uh like if they were the B team that showed up and suddenly became the A team, like the primary team. I'm fine with that idea because it just makes
Mm-hmm.
it seem like uh what's his face Ernie Hudson's character.
Yeah, Winston.
Winston, yeah, like his whole big thing was starting it back up, and the first thing he did was hire 2 kids and 2 adults. Like,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed storyline where it's about like a few months later they open it up, they're rehiring. Like, I wish they carried over something from that game because that was like an official licensed game, and I still play it now and then. So
Yeah,
I finished the
yeah,
story.
just have like the rookie or something. Like, have that be a
Uh,
character.
maybe the rookie from the original, maybe the just like another group that is busy, and it's like they are super preoccupied, and now the visiting team has to take over.
I feel like
That
they were.
just show me that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
feel like
did
they
not
were.
happen in the trailer.
Mhm. I feel
It
like they're
just
missing out.
has to.
Oh, I was like, I feel like they're missing out on like the franchising thing that they've really like set up in like the comics and some of the other games where it's like, oh yeah, like just sell Ghostbusters
Not
like
yet. That I feel
franchises.
like that's a good idea for later, just
Hmm.
because they had to make a statement basically in Afterlife saying that like no one believed in ghosts and that's the reason. Like you can't instantly franchise it from the thing that happened in the middle of nowhere. So maybe in the next movie they can do that. Like if they want a clean slate or a spin-off or really mix up the storyline because if you think about it, it's because it's based in New York, they can only do like New York based ghosts. I think in the TV show, which did you see the little thing that said that Frozen Empire is taking inspiration from the real Ghostbuster cartoon?
I mean, hopefully that's what we were talking about when Afterlife came out. Like we were talking about like yeah, like use some of the real Ghost like they have like so many like villains and like interesting like characters from like the real Ghostbusters that instead of like using Gozer and like Zool and all that stuff again, like do like Sam Hain or the Boogeyman or like any of those like crazy villains they fought in real Ghostbusters.
Well, San Hain was a character in the Spirits Unleashed game. He's the final
Hmm.
boss.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't use him just yet. Hell, but if they do, like that'd be a cool introduction to the live action universe.
or bring the Extreme Ghostbusters in or something, or like something for that. Bring like the weird like Hellraiser ghosts.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't want to use sort of like modern day ghost things like the Nun or I don't know, the possession thing.
Is there any sort of like Is there any sort of like
The bottom.
crossover with Sony? Like, because
Uh,
Sony doesn't. I don't think Sony is not involved. Like all the Conjuring stuff is all Universal. So,
yeah, I'm
but like
trying to think of something that's not Universal monster related. Like, what's a Sony monster? Let me see.
if Sony has any sort of like
Let me just.
horror franchise, they could like cross over, just make like a Ghostbusters verse or like a Sony verse.
Why is
I know.
Spider-Man in this movie?
Yeah, the only thing is like Venom or like something. Mysterio's making ghosts appear.
Okay, so Sony apparently owns Insidious.
Oh yeah, they do. That's probably their biggest one. Yeah.
So Insidious, you have The Invitation, you have Escape Room, you have Don't Breathe. Apparently, they own the American version of The Grudge.
I mean, Insidious is probably like the closest thing to like Ghostbusters. That's like other supernatural dimensions and ghosts and demons or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't have like a ghost like pack buster. They have like a
No,
medium.
yeah. Lin Shaye that shows up. It's like, hey, I'm a Ghostbuster now.
Yeah. They have the rights to the 2010 Evil Dead or 2012 Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, I think, and then the rest of it's whoever owns like the actual like other like the original trilogy and Ash vs Evil Dead and the
And
new
then
one.
they can also mix in Resident Evil for no reason.
Oh my god.
No, it's a hodgepodge. They don't have monsters. They have like
Yeah.
anything kind of relatively sexy. They'll have like a horror thing.
They're,
I did not know
all
Sony also owns Underworld.
they're putting all their eggs in the spider like the Spider-Man weird side verse basket. But yeah, we'll see how this Ghostbusters Frozen Empire sequel is. It's coming out March 29th next year. So in the spring, you can you know just as we're thawing out from the winter, you can get back in and see like New York City get frozen by ghosts or whatever. So, and then we also this week got the first trailer for Netflix's live action remake adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. One of the most beloved shows of all time. Uh, that we've already seen, like probably one of the most horrifically bad adaptations of all time with the M Night Shyamalan movie.
Yep. But I mean, it just wasn't up to par. If you've never seen Avatar before, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
but it's hard to like. It was such a cultural phenomenon that it's hard to say that you've seen the cartoon and then seen the movie.
Yeah, I mean this one's got it's gonna be a show, so it's gonna have like more time to like, kind of like introduce people who haven't seen it into the world and stuff, and like give you more time to like learn about the characters. Um, I will say the one worrying thing is that they actually had like the Avatar showrunners or like creators on this like early on, and they left because they got into like arguments like creative differences with Netflix and left. So I don't. That doesn't really bode too well if like the original creators are like, we don't like what you're doing with like Avatar, we're leaving. Like, but on the flip side, it's like One Piece just came out a little bit ago and it was well received by fans and critics, and it's like one of the most watched things on Netflix. So I mean, have a they have a like current like their recent track record with like anime and anime esque adaptations is good.
It's getting better.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the trailer. I mean, just at least the trailer, like, there's not really like a lot of like plot stuff. It's like a lot of like Fire Nation and just like a lot of just, like characters. Like, hey, stuff's happening. Here's people. Like, they don't really. The trailer doesn't really explain. I think it's like it kind of feels like, hey, you know this.
Yeah, it's a lot of remember this.
So if you don't know it, you're just like, I don't know. It looks cool, I guess. I don't know.
this is a thing. We're not going to explain what this is. We're not going to explain who these people are. It's time is weird like that.
Did you watch Last Airbender?
Yes,
You watch, like all of it?
yes.
Okay.
Did
I,
you?
I I started it and then I keep meaning to like go back to it. I don't know. I just don't have the time
Some
or like.
parts, some parts do feel like homework because it is just filler.
Mhm.
You pretty much have to grind through them because I'm not like a
I wonder.
airbender. Like, yeah,
I wonder if someone's made like like the Clone War, like Star Wars Clone Wars. Like a lot of people have made like lists of like you can watch like you watch like this like these 20 episodes to like get the whole story or like these here's like the
but
essential
you know
episode.
the
It's like
problem is you know the problem is the episodes might drop 5 minutes of parts that you have to watch to get certain things, and then the
mhm,
rest of it is watching these fucking kids like I don't know
on
find
the
food.
like it's like a day at the beach or something. Like it's party day at the beach. I don't know. Like
But it's not like you can't completely miss the whole episode just because
uh
they'll drop something kind of relevant later. But you might find a Cliff Note version. You might say, all right, this just explains this. You don't need to watch the whole like 25 minutes episode. But if you ask any diehard Avatar fan, like they're gonna say, don't skip anything, you know.
mhm,
But it's kind of
mhm.
like One Piece is like that too. One Piece is 400 something episodes long,
Yeah.
so it's like you can skip eventually. Um, but Avatar was so tight, you know, and just because the I don't know, like they I think the last season was making up for the movie. I think the movie came out before they finished the season or finished the series, so it
I'm
wasn't
not
even
sure.
like
Yeah.
the. Yeah, I gotta look at it again, but it was like they were trying to fight against the bad publicity of the live action.
I mean, yeah, I saw the movie and it was just like, wow, this is dark and terrible. Like not like dark like mature, like dark like I can't see what's happening.
Yep. I mean, I'm glad to see Avatar the title because that was what I associated first before the other Avatar. And if you want to fuck with some like I don't know indexing, it'd be Avatar, Way of the Water, Avatar, Last
Yep.
Airbender, Avatar.
Mm.
What is it? The oh, what's the next Avatar movie? Like Way of Fire or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Whatever, the next one that's coming up, like yeah, it's like Avatar, like something fire, like fire. I don't think it's Fire Nation, but like it's something like yeah, something fire. But yeah, hopefully this Last Airbender show is more kind of like follows up on One Piece. It is like well received by fans and critics, and is like actually like a good show, and not the disaster Ed Shyamalan brought us. And we'll find out in February next year. February 22nd is when Avatar: Last Airbender drops. It's gonna be 8 episode first season, so you can check that out when it comes out. And then coming up next month on Prime Video, we're finally getting season 2 of Reacher, which it feels like it's been like forever since the first season of Reacher came out. I think it's been like probably 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Um, but yeah, Reacher's back. Alan Richardson's back to like crack skulls and solve a new mystery. And actually, the new season is based on the 11th Jack Reacher book, Bad Luck and Trouble, and it basically involves there's a member of Jack's old like special investigations team that gets murdered, and then basically kind of like the rest of the team has to like kind of reunite and like try to solve this mystery. And there's like some sort of obviously a conspiracy that's like against them and like targeting them now. It looks like Robert Patrick's gonna be the main villain of of the season, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he plays a great evil business guy slash guy with like military background that's a little too old to be active, but still runs things behind the scenes. The only problem is that like you still didn't finish the first season of Reacher, right?
Yeah, I
Wait,
watched it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you watch it? Okay. The only problem with Reacher is that they haven't figured out his equal yet. I don't know what is up with the writing, but they always have like a henchman that is like looks terribly underpowered, or a final boss that like is nowhere near his level. You know, like it's sort of yeah, he's tough for like a small town kind of guy, but
yeah.
not to this.
I feel like that's ingrained in like the entire like book series, and like the Tom Cruise movies too, where like the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher was also just like an expert in everything, like like
Okay,
like expert level knowledge of like ballistics, crime scene investigation,
that
fighting,
that's
military
fine.
strategy. Like,
No, that's fine because he's usually like he doesn't carry a gun. He doesn't work with a local law to the degree where he gets like backup. It's
mhm.
always like whoever you can trust. So I'm fine with that. My thing is, at least it never looked back. The other like anti-reacher was some sort of like ex-CIA like hitman psycho. So that was sort of on par.
Yeah,
And in the first movie, it was like
it's Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. He was. So I'm like, okay. And then maybe Jai Courtney was okay,
Yeah,
but the
but yeah,
TV show, there's no version of Jai Courtney.
yeah, I get, yeah, because Alan Richardson is just like a monster. Like,
He doesn't need to look as big. I just want some dude that isn't just like a guy that has done a few push-ups before. Like, think about that final battle in season one. It's against that rich kid.
yeah,
How is he standing his own? I get it. Like, he's more of like
mhm.
a torturer, like guy in the background, the guy that's kind of scheming. But he straight up had his own fist fight with Jack Reacher, and it almost made it seem like he was gonna have the upper hand. Which I was like, I don't believe this fight at all.
Yeah,
So my
but I
only
mean,
wish is this. Yeah,
but it's like super accurate in the book though, because like Alan Richardson is like literally like the description of Jack Reacher in the books. It's like, however tall he is, and like how whatever weight he is, and like just like his build and everything. Like that's exactly how Jack Reacher is described in the book.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Jack Reacher being a giant of a man. That's totally fine.
Who's also like super intelligent and like super just like tactical and like knows everything. Like
Fine with
he's
that.
like he has like almost no flaws.
But the only problem I have is just give me a villain that I believe is going to be like in a physical confrontation, a challenge.
Yeah, I guess I mean, yeah, obviously, right, Patrick. It's not going to probably be a physical challenge to Jack Reacher, but maybe, yeah, maybe he'll have like some sort of squad or henchman or something that he can throw at him.
I just like three ex-American gladiators he can take on or something.
Yes, where's Nitro or Gemini or throw one of those guys at him? Yeah, or like the Mountain from Game of Thrones or something. But yeah, Jack Reacher season 2. It's gonna start December 15th. The first 3 episodes are gonna drop, and then it'll be weekly after that for 8 episodes. I mean, the trailer. I mean, looks like if you like season one, looks like it's gonna be like a lot of the same, like just the same, same solid Reacher action. And then last trailer for the week is we got the first trailer for Masters of the Air, which is decades in the making follow up, or like, I guess kind of continuation of Band of Brothers and the Pacific, because it's the latest World War II show from Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. And I think they've been trying to get this made for a while, and it's been like over 10 years since the Pacific, and over 20 years since Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers was like 2001, so um, this is gonna be an Apple TV Plus World War II show. It's based on a book also called Masters of the Air, and it's about the 100th bombardment group that was in Europe during World War II. Doing like bombing runs and various missions across Europe. And Austin Butler stars in it. Elvis himself is in the cockpit of like a B-17 bomber, and Barry Keoghan and a bunch of other ensemble cast are also in it. It definitely has that like Band of Brothers Pacific feel to it, like just like the look of it and kind of like the what the trailer has. You can definitely tell it's like in that same mold. And a bunch of episodes are going to be directed by Cary Fukunaga. He's directed like several episodes of the show, And Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who directed Captain Marvel, also directing multiple episodes. And it's going to be January 26th next year. The first episode is going to drop on that date, and then it'll be weekly after that for 9 episodes. I don't know. Were you a Band of Brothers Pacific fan, Chris?
No. I just kind of stopped watching it around that time. I gotta get into it, I guess. I watch like small clips, but
have you not seen either of them?
no, I've seen the original one.
Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, but you didn't see Pacific.
No. Like not like sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, they're both really good. Pacific's not as good as Band of Brothers. Like Band of Brothers is still like the high mark. But Pacific is still worth watching. I would say, and it's on Netflix now too. If you don't have Max but you still want to watch it, it's part of that crazy Warner Brothers deal where they send a bunch of stuff to Netflix. So Band of Brothers and Pacific are on Netflix now. Which is also it's weird because then like it's like oh like the kind of like the spiritual third series is now on Apple TV Plus, so, not on Max or Netflix. Yeah.
And what's the Apple Plus one?
That like what we're just talking about messes the air. What we're talking about, Chris.
Oh no, I thought there was like another Band of Brothers because I was like I thought it was just Band of Brothers and then.
No,
right?
yeah. This is like the spiritual like third entry in like this kind of series because it's Spielberg and Tom Hanks and World War II based on a book.
You know, I was thinking of also Company of Heroes. that game was inspired by Band of Brothers, but then they actually made a Company of Heroes like movie based on the game, and that like totally just like that kind of like killed everybody. Like you know what I mean, like it killed the franchise, it killed the brand, it killed Company of Heroes 2 like really had to wait for that sequel after that.
Oh yeah, I do also love from this trailer that like Austin Butler still has his Elvis accent.
He said like he can't get rid of it. It's just something like he trained so hard to be Elvis that it's just like part of him now.
I mean, I guess it could like as long as they just say like his character's from like the South somewhere, like it'll work. But yeah, eventually like he's just got to figure out somewhere. He's just like lock himself in a room and just like
deprogram that Elvis out of him.
Yeah.
Also, didn't Elvis go to World War II or something?
I don't.
Or he served in the Korean War.
He was in. I mean, it was in Elvis. Like he was in like. I don't know if he was in like active duty, like he was like on the front line, but he was like on a base somewhere in Europe, I think, and that's where like they met like Priscilla. I think it was more of
crossover Elvis and then this and just we're fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was more like a you know how like the Captain America with this when he was just like doing like the PR tour and not actually fighting anyone. Like I think that was kind of like because they're like, well, we can't have Elvis get killed. Like,
no, it was part of the OS tours.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're into World War II, if you're into aerial combat, in Band of Brothers Pacific, yeah, Apple TV Plus next year, you could look forward to Masters of the Air. And then moving on, probably the biggest news of the week is that the SAG-AFTRA strike is over, finally. 118 days after it began, the strike is over. And as of recorded, we don't know what the actual terms are. I think if you're hearing this, like you're like the deal, like the actual like details will probably come out. But I think we're recording this like the details haven't come out. So maybe next week, if there's like anything like crazy that we like in that deal, we'll talk about it. But I mean, the important thing is that it's over, and stuff can get resumed. Like stuff can get back in production, or actually start shooting, or people can like talk about things.
Yeah, celebrities at these cons can actually talk about
discuss projects. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like like this, like basically like as soon as like midnight struck, like last night, that's when like the strike was over, or like I think it was like like Wednesday or Thursday this week. and then they're already saying like, oh yeah, Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson are going to be on like tonight, like the Night Show, and like all these people like they're sending like everyone to, like all the talk shows like get out there, get back on talk shows.
You realize how much a machine it is to like promote a movie, talk about a movie, do all these other things
I
when
mean,
they're
it's probably
not able to.
I mean, it's probably why it's like a bunch of stuff has been like bombing recently, like or like box office has been like super low like last couple weeks for like some stuff because it's like no, you can't. Your stars are out there like promoting it or like like having like fun talk show appearances and like getting like the general population aware of it. It's like
I don't know. I never watched that, and that influenced me to watch the movie. I watched the trailer, and I formed my own opinion about it.
yeah, I mean that for us, yeah, like that's but I feel like like very like the normies, like the people who are like aren't aware of like they might watch the show and be like, oh, that movie's out this week. I didn't know that movie's coming out, or like I've never that looks
Yeah,
fun, or
but
like, that's
I
one.
feel that there's a generation difference because the younger generation, like younger than us, they're watching YouTubers and TikTokers talk about movies more so than a uh, the typical late night show format.
Yeah, but but then like now stars can like be on podcasts and be on YouTube channels and be on like Hot Ones or whatever, or be on like whatever podcast and talk about things again. So
You want to get some of that money, Zach? You want to rope in like a person for one of these random movies?
yeah, and yeah, like so TV shows are gonna go back to production, movies are gonna go back in production. There's still some like kind of like shifting release dates. Like Marvel just like moved around a bunch of stuff. Like Deadpool 3 moved to July next year, and Captain America went to 2025.
Wait, another Captain America?
The Anthony Mackie Brave New World.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, like that was supposed to come out July of next year, but now it's gonna be 2025 is when that's coming out.
Does Anthony Mackie know he should be back for that? Because I feel like he lost his Captain America body when he did Twisted Metal. So
I mean, he's got 2 years now to work like a year probably to work on it.
because he has to compete against Chris
Mm-hmm.
Evans like physique.
Well, I don't think Chris Evans is in it. Like, there's no
No,
Chris
no, I
Evans.
know, but I'm just saying in
Oh, just like,
general, like
just like, yeah, like compared like to the old Captain America, yeah,
yeah, yeah, but like another iteration of Captain America can't somehow look worse.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
also curious. I'm curious. I mean, maybe we'll talk about it next week when like the details come up. Like what their like AI agreement was, because that was like apparently that was like the major sticking point was like they just kept arguing about AI and like what the AI agreements were going to be because the SAG was like uh well the studios were like well we're going to scan background art like actors and then like just like use AI to like put them in other things and then like not pay background actors or like the use of like dead celebrities and like use AI to like bring them back in like whatever form they wanted to.
I feel like the celebrity has to sign off on it, or if the studio uses a dead celebrity for a very critical role, like in a long-standing franchise, like
Mm-hmm.
the families have to be compensated, like the estate has to be compensated.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think they're arguing a very specific like this is how you can this is how you can do that, and these like the like terms that you need to do follow to like use AI to like reconstruct someone or like you like reconstruct someone's like like
Likeness.
face likeness,
Yeah,
and then there
no,
was
that should be a discussion. That and I
yeah
feel like Hollywood was just like no, and that's what really sparked this.
yeah like the studio's just like well we're gonna use whoever we want we're gonna like have a new movie with like I don't know James Cagney or something like we're just gonna like bring back whoever we want.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't think the state of James Cagney would
Was
be
it
like,
was it
oh no.
wasn't there was it I'm trying to think who it was. There was like a wasn't there a movie that had, like James Dean in it like last year or 2 years ago? Like they had, like an
Really?
like a CG James Dean in it.
Was it Space Jam?
No, it was a Space Jam. I feel like it was like some like yeah some sort of weird. There was like some that was like a big thing of like it was like some movie where like oh we like use we use like AI and CG to like bring James Dean back for this movie. I
Was
forget
it
what it
like
was.
accurate, or was it just like in the
It was
background?
it was some it was like some movie you would never hear of unless outside the fact that like James Dean like resurrection like, a weird CG James Dean in it. But like if that wasn't the case, like you would never have heard of this movie. It would just like show up. It would just be like a Redbox or like a just like nothing movie.
I gotcha.
But yeah, anyway, we'll hopefully by this time next week we'll like kind of know exactly what they got and what the terms, kind of what the details are, and then if there's anything crazy or interesting, we'll discuss them next week. But the other huge news this week was that we found out that Sony and Nintendo are going to be working on bringing a live action Legend of Zelda movie to theaters. So it's in development right now. Kind of interesting that like Nintendo went to Sony after they like worked with Universal for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So apparently, like Nintendo is not really like studio loyal. just whoever just whoever has the best deal, or like let's go to whoever for whatever project.
I'm thinking, was it lowest bidder, or was it based on like, I don't know? Well, okay, think about this. I'm thinking as a conspiracy theory. So Sony can't use the Nintendo characters in their products. So Sony will make the movie, but they won't try to sneak in a right to like try to produce their version of the movie. Universal doesn't abide by that rule, and probably there's some sort of clause in Universal where it's like, hey, we want to put this like in a theme park,
Yeah,
or
it's so weird because yeah, like they have like Universal Studios has there's like already like there's like two Nintendo worlds. There's gonna be a third one in like the next couple of years. Like the like Nintendo
but
is
maybe
so
they don't
there's
want Legend of Zelda in there because it's already Mario. But then Universal's like, what about Zelda now?
yeah. I mean yeah. Who knows what the deal was? But yeah, Sony is gonna be the one. Uh, you know, releasing this Legend of Zelda movie. Wes Ball, who is directed all the Maze Runner movies and is directing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, is directing the movie. Shigeru Miyamoto is going to be producing it. Derek Connolly, who wrote Jurassic World, is going to be writing it. And it's kind of all we know for right now. There's no no casting. It's way too soon for casting. We don't really know what if it's going to be based on a particular game or just like kind of like just like kind of just like in the spirit of all of it, all of Zelda. Because because they didn't say like it's a Breath of the Wild game or it's like a Link to the Past game or it's like an Ocarina game. It's or a movie like they didn't say it's like based on a specific movie or a game. It's just like it's Legend of Zelda. Like is there like a specific game you'd want it to be based on, Chris?
Probably Ocarina of Time. It's the more confusing, convoluted time loop one.
Mm-hmm.
Majora's Mask is a good one too. But it's so like it really,
That would be such a crazy way to like introduce like people who've never even
yeah.
seen or heard of Zelda. It's like, oh yeah, it's this time warp where you like the world keeps ending.
Well, not even that. It's an alternate pass based on the Ocarina of Time
Yeah.
change because it's supposed to alter the one potential timeline, and then yeah, like, and then if they ever get even earlier to like, I don't know, the first Legend of Zelda, which is just more straightforward, go here, do this, no time travel, just stop Ganon, or yeah, stop Ganondorf or Ganon. It's like he was the one where he's just a pig wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Adventures of Link, which is Legend of Zelda 2, which people hate it when it first came out, and slowly people appreciate it, but it's still not like up to par.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play Wind Waker?
No.
Wind Waker is in a weirder one where it's the future of everything, where it's like canonically, I think it's supposed to take place in an alternate future of things where it doesn't matter what version they end up, they all like the world floods.
Hmm.
This great flood happens, and then I think Breath of the Wild is I'm not sure if it's the future from there. I don't. It's like weird, and
Yeah.
then yeah, like I don't know. If they want to go nuts, do a four swords, which is even more confusing. Where it's like, hey, did you know about like Link? Now there's four Links.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like Breath of the Wild because that's like the most like current popular one, like Breath of the Wild slash Tears of the Kingdom, or like you said Ocarina because that's like super beloved fan favorite, or I don't know if they would go like all the way back to like Link in the Past and maybe like based on Link in the Past, but that's
Link to the
also like
Past is not even part of the original NES. That's like another Link.
yeah,
And then the oh God, I had it in my head.
or
Oh, Skyward Sword.
yeah.
Did you ever learn about that one?
I mean, I never played it, but like I know it's also like a just like crazy also like like the, the official timeline's like it's like the hero fails timeline, the hero wins timeline, the like other timeline. Like there's like how many times there's like three or four timelines.
Yeah, it's like three or four.
Yeah,
But Skyward Sword is an alternate, or like is a core pass that could happen because it's one of the earlier iterations of
yeah.
the world, and then it's also one of the earlier incarnations of Link and Zelda. Like I, I forgot like what it was. Some people didn't like it. I didn't give a shit, but it was like there was people that lived in the sky. And I was like, all right. Then they developed like, all right, we should hang out on the ground more. So that's why by the time the other games take place, they're not
Hmm.
living in trees and in the sky. I just remember it was like this dumb bird that like showed up. I didn't really play it because I didn't own a Wii. But Twilight Princess is a good runner up. Now I think about it.
Twilight Princess
Hmm.
get some werewolf action going on in there.
Yeah, really like get that reinvigorate furry people
Hmm.
because that was like a lot of weird fan art after that. But yeah,
Well, hope
it's got a lot of wealth to take from. Unlike
yeah.
other things that have like a easier origin story, Legend of Zelda is just one of those like, ooh, which one do you? How do you tackle it, and then how do you want to make like the beauty about Legend of Zelda is that basically every two games, new origin story,
Hmm.
or they skip the origin of Zelda and Link, and it's just sort of like here's a Link, and he's doing something to save a person.
And also like live action also is like interesting, like
Yep.
because they had such success with the Super Mario Bros. Movie being like animated, but now they're like big live action fantasy epic with hopefully. I do hope they find like whoever they cast for Link. Hopefully, it's like I would like them to find like just like a totally unknown person, so that they can like just like fully inhabit Link. Not
Oh, I
like find
mean,
like yeah like,
like
it's like
Chris Pratt.
Timothy Chalamet is Link like.
Oh my god, I would have said that. He has such good like elven bone structure.
Hmm. But yeah, just find someone that so you like no preconceived notions of like oh I've seen this person like this before. Now you have to like imagine them being Link. And then find just like someone who like just like devour scenery as like Ganon.
Gary Oldman retired, right?
I think he's still doing stuff. Maybe.
I feel like he said he's gonna retire soon.
Oh, are you saying like have Ganon be like a CG character and just have like a voice, or like have
Yeah.
someone actually be like a? Well, I guess if you Ganon Dwarf and then he turns into Ganon, like if you have Ganon Dwarf, then like you could have like an actual like a person playing him, and then maybe do like a CG like giant pig monster for the end or something. I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully we'll get more details in the near future about if it's based on any particular game or who's cast as Link or like what the story is going to be. But yeah, sometime near future, Legend of Zelda is going to hit the big screen. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that as it develops. And then we also got some news this week that Spartacus is coming back. I think we heard that they were talking about doing some sort of like Spartacus spinoff or continuation over at Stars, and we officially got the word this week that Stars has greenlit a new Spartacus show. But kind of a crazy, weird entry into the Spartacus universe. It's gonna be it's Spartacus House of Asher, which is gonna star Nick Tarabay, who played Asher in the original series. But then if you like spoilers for Spartacus, particularly Spartacus Vengeance, he got like definitively killed in Spartacus Vengeance. Um, like he got his head chopped off because he was like helping the Romans. Like he betrayed all the gladiators. Was like a Roman collaborator, and then they got like killed at the end of Spartacus Vengeance.
And somehow
But
he lived from it.
well, see, it kind of seems like this new show is gonna be like a what if kind of thing, where like, oh, like what if that didn't happen? What if he like survived the entire war with Spartacus and his rebels, and then like the Romans gave him like the gladiator school that like John Hannah like ran, and now he runs it.
It's so weird because they could have just made a whole new character. They could have just done something else.
Or I mean, do the prequel thing again? Like I mean, one of the best seasons is the prequel season,
which was fine. The prequel season wasn't bad. It sort of filled in some plot holes and expanded some characters. But my thing is, there were other things going on. Like this wasn't the only gladiator school in town.
Yeah, and also like there's other characters that like actually like I feel like at least one character survived the end of Spartacus. Like, I mean, obviously Spartacus gets like like crucified, like is like, and like a bunch of most of them got crucified, but like I feel like yes, like some of the characters like made it all the way through, and then they could have like so you could have like probably like like followed them or something.
But in this alternate timeline where Usher lives and opens a school, is it supposed to be after the war or?
So it's basically like the setup is so yeah. So the Romans defeat Spartacus and they ended the slave rebellion, and then Asher didn't. If he started the whole time and was helping them the whole time, and then like the Romans like, hey, you helped us the entire time. We're giving you like this gladiator school. You get to you own it now. You're the master of this gladiator school. That's going to basically be like the setup for this new show.
All right. I wonder this alternate one.
Yeah, alternate universe. What if Spartacus? But yeah, 10-episode season. Stephen S. DeKnight is back. He was obviously the creator and showrunner of all the original shows seasons, and he's back to run this season. So it should hopefully have that same kind of Spartacus craziness. I feel like it's not because it was on Netflix for a while, but I think it's back to only being on Stars. So you have to have Stars to like watch it. But it was like more widely available for a while. Or it's like one season or like half a season or something is on like Amazon Prime or something.
Was it?
Oh, is it on Tubi now? It might be on Tubi. Which, if that's the case, like download Tubi and go watch it if you have never seen Spartacus. Spartacus is awesome. But yeah, no word on when this new show is gonna debut, but sometime in the near future on Stars. And then last bit of news for this week is that we got another movie over at Warner Bros. That has been shelved, even though it's completely finished and ready to go, for another tax write-off. So, Coyote versus Acme, which is going to be a live-action animated hybrid Looney Tunes movie, is not coming out. It's canceled. They're taking a $30 million write off on it instead of putting it out to, because they had like a kind of like a rocky third quarter apparently, and they need some sort of like something to balance out the books or whatever. So yeah, Cody versus Acme is going to join Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt as a movie that is finished, ready to go, and never coming out.
Man, it's so sad that they just like lock these movies away.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the thing about this one too is that like Amazon was like very interested, were, like trying to like bid on it and like sell it to us. We'll like put it on Prime Video and like I think some other places were interested in it, but like there's like, nah, like we're gonna like just write it off as like a lost whatever, however writing it off works to studios. Like we're just gonna do that instead of like because they're like it was gonna cost them at least $40 million to promote it, and the movie cost $70 million, so it's like. And then it's like, well, it's not guaranteed we're going to make our money back on it for like when it comes out in theaters. So they're just like, we'll take 30 million down, 30 million now, eat whatever it costs for like eat the cost of making it, get 30 million back, and then try to like move forward. I guess however studio accounting works, which no one knows. It was this movie was also going to co-star John Cena and Will Forte, Lana Condor, and it was basically Wile E. Coyote was gonna sue Acme for like selling him all these like terrible products.
In this universe.
Yeah, like it's like in like the universe where like Looney Tunes are like real, alongside humans, and then Acme is an actual corporation, and then it's like Wile E. Coyote, like so basically Will Forte was gonna be Wile E. Coyote's like lawyer, and then they were gonna sue Acme to like because they keep all these like products that like blow up in Wile E. Coyote's face or like don't work the way they're supposed to work. But yeah, we'll never see it. So but yeah, anyway, so that's it for news this week. So I want to jump into show and tell. And Chris, I know you saw the horror sensation, although like second weekend it dropped off spectacularly. It had like one of the worst drop offs in like cinema history. I mean, still a hit, but kind of crazy how much it dropped off the second week. But Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it it was definitely an attempt at a video game thing, and I
I
feel
mean,
like it hit its what?
I was gonna say like apparently if you're a fan, this is exactly what you wanted.
I mean, I was a fan of the game, I guess. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the. I like the. I'm a fan of the cryptic lore. I think is a better way to explain it.
hmm
Like, I don't need to play the game to enjoy some of the reasoning and the art, but I definitely played like the first game. I've just watched a lot of people play the other one, and I like the music. I like the concept, but it definitely is a game that makes you like earn the story because everything is supposed to be very like interpretational, a lot of cryptic guessing, and I couldn't tell if it was like genius or like this guy had like everything plotted out because I don't feel that way. But you have a second chance at it for the movie version, and what they're doing is sort of filling in the gaps, but because they're catering to the video gamer like market that really enjoys it, which I guess enough because they made like its money back. The
Oh
story
yeah.
falls apart when you start looking in the small details. I mean, they're not that small, but they are big enough to be like something that I just could not stop thinking about. Like a few things. One, like why does Josh Hutcherson need the pills for the deep sleep dreaming when he can do it without like it didn't seem like he needed to do that dream thing for like his sister. his sister can just do it without him because she was drawing pictures that her visions were giving her. So does that mean that both like they come from like a psychic family? Like I got that impression that they might be both psychic, like telekinetic, like linked to trauma. I couldn't figure that out. Also, she wasn't even there that day.
No, she doesn't. Like he doesn't take her to Freddy's until like the third night.
No, I meant the trauma that like made Josh
Oh no,
Hutcherson
yeah,
that way.
that was like 10 years before she was born. Like whatever the gap is between like uh yeah like Josh Hutcherson's younger brother and then her, which else it's just so weird that like Josh Hutcherson is like her older brother, not her dad. Like why? Like it
Yeah, I
just
did
adds
not
like
know that.
it just adds a weird wrinkle of like wait what like
Why
the
can't
parent like
this be your daughter? I don't know. It didn't make that much a difference if it was a daughter or a sister.
and like
Well,
what and the parents just like they just took a super long gap and were like we'll try having our kid. Even though like our other one, our other younger son was kidnapped, but we'll have another kid. And then
like
like
the mom died and the dad
yeah,
killed himself.
I guess yeah.
I read online that supposedly he killed himself, but then
Mhm,
I thought the whole twist was his dad would have been William Maffin.
mhm.
So there's a whole like, all right, it's a little cryptic, which fine. First time coming into the lore. See if this comes in.
And then the aunt wants custody of Abby for like the monthly payment, like the custody payments, but then it doesn't seem like they're using those payments at all for anything.
No,
like
I don't know. She's
or
doing it
or
to hire criminals, basically.
but I'm saying like it doesn't seem like worth the effort that she's putting in because like Josh Hutcherson is not using that like whatever they're getting is not a lot because they're
No,
even
because
like a
he's gonna get evicted from his like house.
yeah their trailer or whatever they live in, and then yeah it's like it's kind of like a wreck, and then like he has no job.
And honestly, he shouldn't be like watching this person, like this kid. Like it's a social worker should have stepped in.
Well we were talking like before we started recording, but like he should be in jail. Like why was he not arrested for like viciously assaulting a man in the mall?
No idea. He gets away with it, and I mean it's traumatic, and it's one of those things where he maybe some sort of reason we don't know happened off screen to explain it, but not nothing close to what we need as an answer.
Yeah, because I mean,
Explains it well.
because like maybe they told him like you have to go to like counseling or some sort of like
Court
like
order thing.
horror thing, but it's like he like beat that like dad to like within an inch of his life, like it was like that was like straight up just like stop he's already dead territory. Like
Yeah,
that guy's son is just like stop he's already dead.
yeah. Like the whole premise for him to be in that situation, it couldn't be because of like hard economic times and whatever. It was like they really ramped up the drama that it was a little bit distracting about the whole uh, being a guard for abandoned pizzeria. So
Mhm.
when you get over that fact, like it, you know, you get kind of like back into the mood, and it's the horror aspects, which I didn't mind. I didn't mind the subtlety and then the kind of like building up the tension. Again the ghost children dream almost like he has got a shining. That was kind of like all right. I guess in the game that happens. It's more. It's not implied that what you play a flashback, but it doesn't tell you that you're playing from the guard's like perspective, like having that flashback. You sort of play it as if it's like filling in the lore between days. So this time around, they try to connect it into the story where it's like Josh Hutcherson is experiencing it, and we're viewing it, and it's part of the vision quest that he gets because he dreams inside this haunted ass arcade
Hmm.
pizzeria. So all right, I get that is just like a thing the ghost can choose. Uh, However, by the time they invite, he brings his sister there. That's where the movie starts. Like the wheels start spinning a little looser. So yeah, the children. I get like the children react to children, so like they bond really quickly, and it brings her out of her shell. But she doesn't get the freaky dream, or maybe she did and didn't understand it, but the movie doesn't explain that.
Well,
She just is drawing pictures,
they
but she's
they say like Josh Hutcherson like asks her like, oh, like how like what was where did you like learn about this drawing, or like how did you draw this? And, like it's like, oh, they told like the like Freddy and them told me or whatever.
wow. They told her enough detail that she drew that like very accurately.
But yeah, the whole middle segment, like the third night, I think, is when they have like the '80s montage of like we're building the fort, it's fun. Like I was just like that was just like what is happening right now? Like what is this movie? like
Yes,
like
I
that
didn't
was
realize how weird it would be. Then I saw it. I was like, "What is going on?"
and it totally just like deflates any sort of threat from like the animatronics. They're just like, oh, they're just like lovable, like wacky, like friends now. Like
It was too much. I couldn't believe how almost like quick they are to forget that these killer monsters. I get the girl get like the guard, the actual cop understands that they're kids and all that, but not like Jazz Hutcherson. He's just like chill with it, knowing there
yeah.
are ghost children in it. And he even says like a line that's like, "Oh, like should I be freaked out about this?" And then this is after, mind you, this is after the animatronics kill like four
Yeah,
uh
the guys broke
people.
everyone who broke in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was wondering like who cleaned up after them? Did they clean up after that, hiding the bodies and then just
Hmm.
sort of doing that thing? I couldn't figure that one out,
Hmm.
but whatever. I guess the guard. I mean, like, I forgot like for all these characters' name, but the cop, she kind of like changes her mind about like following her, following like the plan, and then sort of going, "Oh, I'm against this now." Because she spent like a week doing this, but I guess she then like cared for Jess Hutcherson and the sister, so she betrayed her like her duty.
Well, what is their plan? Like what is what is what's like Matthew Lillard's plan of like I'm gonna hiring this guy and then like her plan is like I like I tell whoever this guard is like the weird stuff that happens, but then I don't tell them all everything, and then like or they just quit before I have to worry about it. Like
Well, I guess he still needs a guard, and so the guard that gets killed in the opening, it's
yeah.
implied that basically that guy was not really like a serial killer death. That was just like I still need people to protect my abandoned arcade, which no one bothered with it. I think because he put a guard there made it more of a problem.
Hmm.
So that was like uh, unexpected bonus, but then a detriment. And
Well,
then he
it's
wanted
also
to kill Josh Hutcherson. Like his goal was to kill him because he killed the. Well, he says in the end, but I don't think it was expected. He just wanted to keep him close by just because he could.
well, yeah, because that's in the intro. It's like he sees the name. He's like, "Oh, your name is this. Your name is last name is Schmidt. Okay, I got this job for you." Because then he's like, "Oh," because he remembers like, "Oh, Garrett Schmidt. That was the kid I killed like in like the '80s or whatever."
Yeah, so I get why it's like he wants to tie up loose ends. I guess. I mean, I guess I have no
I
idea.
guess, yeah.
Then
But then, like it's just like the worst luck for Matthew Lillard is he chooses like so he's like I'm gonna kill the brother of this kid I killed, but then it's like, oh, but I just happen to choose the brother who has like psychic visions that can like unravel his whole plan and
Yeah.
like talk to like my murder victims.
You see what I mean? Like, I want to know why he has psychic visions. I
Well, I
never
mean,
understood that.
he's got the book about lucid dreaming, and he's like reading like he's been trying to because he keeps having the same dream even before he goes to Freddy's, but it's like very vague, like it's like super vague, and he doesn't remember the details. But then when he starts like sleeping at Freddy's, it's more vivid because like the ghost kids are there. And then he's also like reading a book about like he's like trying to like lucid dream so he can like remember everything.
There was that friend that he was with, and then
Yeah,
we never see that friend again.
yeah, but that book he's talking about is like that's like his like he was reading that to like learn how to like have more like remember more of his dreams. That book is all about like lucid dreaming and controlling your dreams and all that stuff.
Okay, that explains sort of like his memories, but the problem is that the ghost children show up, and then it alters more. Like they're able to enter his dream world, which
Yeah,
okay,
and
that's new.
injure him Freddy Krueger style in
Yes,
the dream world in the dream world too.
yeah. That let's talk about that. I don't understand what their goal was. Like, if they want to reach out to him and like mess with him, but then they want to injure him, but then let him live for another few days. I don't understand. Was it something that Matthew Willard was ordering them to do? Say, hey, you can hurt him, just don't
Maybe
kill
yeah,
him.
because Matthew Lillard can control them, but then they're yeah, it's weird. I don't know if like if like Freddie and like they want like they want Abby like their own volition or like that was like Matthew Lillard like telling them like yeah get his sister like get his sister to join you like
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't understand what the end goal was, but in the games, they're explained a lot better than this.
hmm
So that's why when fans are like, "This is great, this is what we want," or like, "Is it?" In the first game, you kind of play as like this unknown guard, but because we
hmm
know so much about him now, we're like, "Wait, what?" Then you have like, I didn't mind the background lore, like the kids being ghosts, fine. The kids using pictures to communicate, okay. Matthew Lillard being a furry, whatever. His
hmm
reveal of Springtrap at the end was kind of cool because it was like, because he doesn't show up until like the third game, so it was cool to see that, and then the whole, what's up with this. I think the third game or second game, but they don't really explain his character so much until like it's one of those like, like there's a crazy man here.
hmm
And I think the fourth game they explain that uh, he was able to harness, like he somehow was able to like figure out that if you kill something and then the body like secretes goo, that if you bind it to things it makes them like their soul is binded to it, like inanimate objects. So that's why the ghosts only can be in these animatronics and not just anything else. But it still doesn't explain why the ghosts can only hang out in like this building. Technically, in one of the games, the restaurant burns down and then they're free to go wherever they want as robotic children.
hmm
But they kind of like have a taste for blood now. Uh, but yeah, movie's okay. Like it could be better. It could have been potentially like punched up and easier for like fans to like, not for moviegoers to understand, and if they just explained more instead of just being cryptic on purpose like this, because it's like not a game where like you can interpret it and then understand where the series is going. The movie is just doesn't do a good job of like kind of pointing out certain characters. But like I get it because it sounds just like the way it says for like the Mario movie, where it's not meant for average moviegoers. You just have to like, suspend some realistic beliefs. So I did it. I enjoyed it for what it was. it's very like it could have been worse, but uh, like I understand when you're coming from if you don't play anything at all and you're watching this movie, you're like, wait, what's this? Like, why is this? It doesn't explain.
Yeah, my main thing is like I think like they have these like incredible like animatronics, and then they don't really do anything. Like they don't really do it. Like it's like the one super quick scene, like the one sequence where they kill like the guys that break in, and that's all you get of like them actually like stalking and killing people, and then the rest of the movie they're kind of just like standing around or like moving their heads or playing instruments. So that kind of just like a waste of like all the effort like Jim Henson workshop put in to like make these like incredible costumes and like animatronics, and also just it's just kind of like it's kind of boring. Like it's a lot of just Josh Hutcherson sleeping and then going back to that same dream like a dozen times. Like it's just like the third or fourth time he goes back to that dream with the kids. I'm just like, oh my, this movie is so fucking repetitive. Like definitely cut down some of that like dream stuff or like the like the weird like murder mystery part and like more more robot mayhem.
Yeah, I feel like they only did it to like be PG-13, but for most of the
That,
movie, it could have been a PG movie. But the
that
opening scene of the guy's face getting like sawed is like
yeah,
way more intense. So
that's what I was saying like last week. Like I feel like if somewhere with like if you smash Willy's Wonderland and this together, there's some and take like elements of both, like somehow take like the best elements of both and like combine them. That you might have like like the perfect kind of like killer animatronic movie.
you
Because
know, people have said that like when you said it, and then now like a lot of critics are saying that where it's like there is so many like no one's figured out the right formula.
yeah, because
There's
like
bits of it.
Willy's Wonderland was like no plot. But like lots of mayhem because like Nicolas Cage just like beats the shit out of like animatronic robots for like an hour and a half, and then this is like way not nowhere near enough robot mayhem, and then way too much plot. So it's just like if you can the ratio of like plot to robot mayhem, if you like somewhere in the middle of those two movies on the spectrum is maybe we get the sequel to this movie, because I mean obviously we're definitely getting a sequel to this movie because it's made like 100 times its budget back or whatever. So Five Nights at Freddy's 2, whatever we get in like a couple years, maybe they'll figure out the formula and make it more like still please fans, but like make it more enjoyable for like just kind of regular horror viewers or regular viewers.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely like if they improve some of the plot, and now that they have established like at least the enough, they can sort of expand and do something. I don't know. I'm kind of someone now who like if they do they're gonna do a follow up. Like this movie made enough
Yeah.
money to do a follow up, and there's enough like word of mouth and fandom for it
Hmm.
that they can do an original plot and not just try to cram. It's weird. Not to drag it any longer, but do you feel that it introduced enough plot, but then not enough plot, like not enough detail in the plot for what
Well,
the story was about?
it was too much of the Josh Hutcherson I gotta figure out who killed my brother stuff, and then nowhere near enough explanation of like who the kids that are inhabiting Freddy and the other robots are, or like the history of Freddy's or any of that stuff. It's just like it was all about I gotta figure out who killed kill my brother, and then if you're any sort of like if you have any sort of like movie knowledge or kind of like if you can piece together like plot details, like I it's like there's only a certain amount of people, like there's only like a certain amount of cast in this movie. Matthew Lillard was like very weird at the interview, so it's like I was already like clocking, not knowing anything about the movie, like the games or anything. I was like, I think Matthew Lillard is probably going to be the killer, so like he has something to do with this. And then it was like, oh yeah,
Janice picked up on that like immediately.
as soon as he like looks at the name, is like, oh, your name's this, all right. Like that was such a just like a blatant like red
Giveaway.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have to do that. I don't understand. Unless he was like an anger management counselor slash career counselor.
Yeah, I think he was just like a career like guide, like counselor.
Yeah, that's I'm like, I don't. Does he have the authority to get like his arrests cleaned? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Oh,
no,
you
it was too on the nose of like on auspicious thing where it's like this is not a good thing, not a good sign.
and on top of just like Matthew Lillard just like doing like he and the Mary Stuart Master was like the only two like doing like a like any sort of lively performance. Like they were like both kind of like trying to do like a little bit more, and like Josh Hutcherson is just so fucking boring in this movie. Like I think on purpose, but like he was just not interesting at all. Like just like
Well,
I'm super depressed.
well,
My
yeah, he played
sister like
he was fine because I feel like he played the guy that like his life was out of control. Like he had um no semblance of if he's living in the past or not taking care of the present. So I get that. Like I get that he's just a chronic depressed, like traumatized person. I'm okay
well, yeah,
with
but
that didn't
well,
bother me.
like for me, like that just for me that's like that's not like just like that's not an interesting character to like to spend the entire movie with. They're just like my sister. They're gonna take my sister, my aunt. I, I'm working at this pizza place. My brother got murdered. I gotta figure out who my brother is.
It
Like,
could be
just,
better.
yeah,
I do admit it could have been better, but maybe that explains the sleeping pills and then his I don't know, like
he wasn't doing like he wasn't drinking or anything. It was just, yeah, he
no,
was just like
like yeah, it wasn't even
he was
like you could
just
blame it on that. It was just he
yeah,
went to sleep a lot.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
I,
yeah.
also just on the spectrum we're talking about, somewhere from like bored dead Josh Hutcherson to like crazy Nicolas Cage. There's got to be somewhere in the middle where there's like an interesting protagonist for one of these movies.
Yes, yes. Uh, but yeah, that I watched that. I think I was
Mhm.
watching some other TV shows, but I'll save it for another time. Caught up on Loki, obviously, and
Well,
then
we haven't seen the season finale yet, so we'll probably talk about the season finale next week because we're
right,
recording this
right.
before it
But
comes
I
out.
mean,
So
leading up to it, because I usually
yeah,
save Loki for the weekend, and then I
hmm
back to backed it with Loki, and then last week was Loki and Bodies, and I was like, okay, this is like after Loki's done, go watch Bodies now.
both like crazy time twisting mysteries. Like
Consequence, and yeah,
yeah. So Finance Phrase the main thing you watch, Chris?
yeah. I've been trying to catch up on Secret Wars because I took a long break on not watching that or Secret Invasion.
Oh boy,
Yeah, I'm like just speed running through that.
hate watching it. Yeah,
What's not so hateful, but it's just like they are rushing through the like all these characters. They're like, all right,
yeah. I didn't.
cool. This person's dead. All right, now what?
Yeah, I didn't really hate watch it, but I was also just like, wow, this is not good, and also like just like yeah, like none of yeah, it feels rushed, but also like dragged out at the same time. Where it's
Yep.
just like nothing's happening, but then also like it's like there's like rushing things are happening that they're not explaining, or like developments will happen like oh how far are you into it, Chris? Like halfway
I
or
think
like
episode 5.
oh so
I,
you're like almost to the end then.
yeah, I'm almost at the end, so I'll talk about it a little bit after because I guess I'll get
Okay.
me ready for the Marvels.
I was just gonna ask you if like if they had like the Avengers goo yet.
No.
Okay, you'll know that when it happens. Like there's like a I think it's like right before like the last episode right before the last episode. Uh, there's like a Samuel Jackson like goes and finds this thing, and then that's like the MacGuffin for like the last episode. But I've been watching some TV stuff. So I watched the season premiere of Invincible. which is on Prime Video. It's finally back. It's been like 2 years since season one ended, but it's finally back. Kind of like it's kind of weird because it's like the baton got passed from like Gen V to Invincible as far as like the Friday like super brutal violent superhero show. But Invincible, great. Like if you like the first season, like it's all everything that you liked about the first season is still here. It's incredible voice cast, like fun animation, like crazy brutal action, and definitely the first episode. Probably I imagine like most of this season is gonna be like it's a lot of like Marcus kind of like trying to deal with like the ramifications of like his like massive crazy battle with his father at the end of the first season, and then trying to like figure out like am I gonna turn into that, or like am I like destined to turn into my dad, or like do the same thing, or like how can I stop him if he comes back? And but there's also like another like kind of threat that's like a multiversal threat, or like they kind of playing like it's like their version like the multiverse. There's like a character who like is like can like his power is like he can like jump like he can like create portals to other dimensions, and then like he's trying to like get kind of like gather all the knowledge of like his other like all of his alter egos, and like try like combine all of that knowledge like himself through like a machine.
Hmm. I didn't read this arc. Like I know like eventually one of them can enter the Marvel universe because that's how he ended up in like with like Spider-Man and Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those like okay they figured out like a MacGuffin to do that.
Yeah, that definitely didn't happen in this first episode. There wasn't any sort of like other like comic
Nuts.
universe that they go into. The main universe like it kind of kicks off like the first like episode kicks off and it's like you're in like this one of the other universes where like Mark joined his dad, so like they've taken over the planet, and there's like a resistance group kind of like trying to stop them, and then in typical like Invincible fashion, like Omni Man Mark show up and just like destroy them all brutally. But yeah, it's great. It's if you like the first season, it hasn't lost any step. It's as good as it was in the first season. So definitely excited to check out the rest of it. And then I also watched the premiere of Lawman Bass Reeves, which is the new Taylor Sheridan show on Paramount Plus. Like I think we're like it's they're like contractually obligated to like give us a new Taylor Sheridan show like every other month. I think it was like a month or two ago. They just had like a Lioness, like the Zoe Saldana show. That was the Taylor Sheridan show. But yeah, this one is based on obviously Bass Reeves, the actual U.S. Marshal from the Wild West, who among other things he was like the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, like uh, and also he also captured like the most fugitives of all time for any like U.S. Marshal. Like captured like 300 people.
Yeah, it's one of those that I've heard about his legend, and then the like parodies that I didn't know he was like a real person.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, David Oyelowo plays him, and he is. It actually it takes it's kind of interesting. It takes it a little bit for it to actually get into like the like lawman like U.S. Marshal stuff because like the whole first episode is like Bass Reeves like he starts out as he's a slave to like this like Confederate major, and then he escapes, and then there's a whole thing that's like basically the whole first episode is like him trying to like escape slavery, and uh he finds a place to hide out, and then kind of like uh trying to like make it to the end of the Civil War like hidden. And then the second episode is like oh, and now the Emancipation Proclamation happened. You're back with your family, and then but then like he gets drawn into like this like posse by like Dennis Quaid, who Dennis Quaid is like chewing scenery in the show. Like he's doing a crazy accent. He's like spitting tobacco. He's kind of like he's kind of like a slimy like he's a marshal, but he's like a kind of slimy marshal where like he'll like kill people and then like loot them. So he doesn't have like the moral like fiber that like Bass Reeves has, because Bass Reeves like is very like he wants to like capture people alive if he can, and like he wants to like talk people down if he can. But he's also like a like incredible shot. Like he will if he's like in a shootout, like he's taking them out, everyone out like with like headshots.
So he's sort of like Justified kind of guy.
He like not quite like he's not quite real enough of like because like he's not like he is like a slightly more like morals than like Raylan, because like Raylan will like try like manipulate people into like, you want to get in a shootout, like I'll like I'll talk you into doing a shootout. But yeah, Bass Reeves is like hey, if we can work this out without shooting you, we'll work. Let me try like work it out with you, like we'll walk out here together alive. And then Barry Pepper seems like he's going to be possibly maybe like a recurring villain, or like someone that might pop up later. Like he's in the first two episodes, and he was in like the Confederate like cavalry that Bass Reeves was forced into be like fighting with along with his master. And then they kind of have like a confrontation later after the war. And like kind of leads, and then like he like kind of like runs off. So, but he's like he's in the main cast. I'm assuming he's gonna be back at some point. Maybe like kind of like the main kind of like fugitive that like Bass Reeves is going after. And also like Donald Sutherland's in the show. So yeah, awesome cast. Shea Wiggum is like Bass Reeves' master in the first episode. In full on like Shea Wiggum mode. But yeah, it's solid. Like it's a solid Western show. It's got all the stuff you'd like expect from like Western. It's got like like shootouts and guys like riding across like the desert landscapes on horses and camping out in the woods, like and yeah, everything you expect from like a a solid like Western show or Western movie. So I said if you're interested in that, if you're interested in like Bass Reeves and seeing like his kind of story, definitely check it out. I think it's going to be 8 episodes. So yeah, the first two up are on Paramount Plus, and it'll be one a week after that. I think they're also, if you want to watch it on like TV, I think it's going to air on CBS this coming weekend. If you hear this before Sunday, I think it's going to be like they're going to air it like actually on like regular CBS.
Wow. Like, is it going to be censored?
I I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, it wasn't. I mean, the opening. There's like a big Civil War battle in the first episode. Like to open it, that was pretty brutal. So maybe they would cut that back a little bit. But like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, Yellowstone is on. I don't know if like Yellowstone has like crazy brutal like scenes or anything, or if they censor anything like that. But like they've been airing Yellowstone for like weeks on CBS. It's been like their like most like top rated show. So, and that started obviously on like Paramount Network. Oh, the interesting thing too is like when they originally announced the show, they said it was going to be a spin-off of like the Yellowstone universe, but now it's not. Like this has nothing to do with like anything with like Yellowstone or the prequels or anything. It's its own kind of separate thing.
Wait, which one?
When they first announced like Lawman, like the Bass Reeves show, they said it was going to be a spin-off of
Oh,
like Yellowstone, like I think particularly like 1883, like Western, like the Sam
the one with
Elliott.
Harrison Ford. Oh,
No, that's 1923.
Jesus Christ.
And then they're also doing. They're going to have 1944 now. It's going to be another Yellowstone spinoff. But yeah, 1883 was like the Western, like the Wild West kind of like prequel to Yellowstone, and then they said Bass Reeves is going to be like a spinoff of that. But now Bass Reeves it's going to be its own thing.
That's good. I feel like it shouldn't have to be tied in together.
I also feel like between this where it's like Lawman colon Bass Reeves, and also like it was like Special Ops Lioness was like it was like Special Ops colon Lioness. I feel like Taylor Sheridan's like setting himself up to like, oh, we can do like Special Ops something else for another season, or like we can do like Lawman someone else for like a second season of this. If like we could do like Bass Reeves this season and like do someone else next season.
Wait, I didn't know he made Special Ops Lioness too.
He made that. He made Tulsa King. He made Mayor of Kingstown. He made
Is it but they're all not connected, huh?
the only ones that are connected are like Yellowstone and like 1883, 1923.
But can
And
you
then
imagine if he somehow like Tom Clancy this, where it's all some connected universe?
Stallone just fucking shows up in like Yellowstone or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I own this ranch now. I moved from Tulsa. Now I own this ranch.
Or maybe he teams up with Kevin Costner for like a lamb bargaining scheme.
Well, Kevin Costner's out.
Oh,
Like I think they're doing like there's like one more batch of episodes with him, and then Matthew McConaughey is taking over
as the same character, or just like a
a new character, and then pretty much all the main cast of like Yellowstone. But then it's gonna be like Matthew McConaughey is the main guy now, or something. Or like he takes over the ranch, or like they're like something happens with Kevin Costner, and then like it's like, well, Matthew McConaughey's here now.
as like the dad uncle.
I don't know. I haven't seen Yellowstone. I haven't watched any of Yellowstone or any of the
I watch
spin-offs or prequels.
recaps. They're interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lot just the main thing. A lot of it is like episodes that take more focus on the ranch hands are skippable, but
Hmm.
like you really just need to know about the main family and how like it's sort of like Game of Thrones, but there's only like within themselves, and any outsider that shows up and tries to convince them to like sell the land or like do something questionable, like they get dealt with pretty quickly, or like within a season.
Yeah, and they're also gonna call the sequel series that Matthew McConaughey is gonna star in. It's gonna be called 2024. So it's not being called Yellowstone or like anything like it's gonna. They're really like they basically said they're gonna like lean fully into like these decade or like these like year designators, and that's gonna be like anything in the Yellowstone universe is gonna be like a year.
Interesting, because what if the season goes on for like 3 seasons and it's like, wait, this is the same year? Is like The Simpsons, where it's like all these things take
Yeah.
place in like a month.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for like these like mini series where it's like like 1923 was like, well, that's gonna be 2 seasons, but then like 1883 was like a limited series, but then it's like, yeah, 2024 they're gonna call the new show 2024, and then it's gonna go to like 2025, but still we call it 2024.
Something like that is where it gets kind of weird about the numbering.
I feel like with that one in particular, they should have made it like Yellowstone colon something like like Yellowstone Legacy or something. Just like but like yeah, just calling it a year is really weird. The prequels make
Yeah,
sense because the prequels make sense because you're saying like, oh, this is like the year, this is like whatever like era or year it's occurring in. But
it sets an expectation about how limited it is and then how focused it is. But when it's like 2024, it's like, isn't that just like next year?
and also it just sounds like weird. It's just like really like sci-fi for like a Western drama show, like
Yeah, anything in the
2024.
20s. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's like Blade Runner, like 2047. Just
yeah. But yeah, but Bass Reeves solid. If you like westerns, if you like kind of historical, but based on true event stuff, it's cool. There's some fun casts, like some solid like western shootout stuff. There's like a like guys like riding at each other with pistols, like revolvers, like shooting at each other, and like barely like somehow missing until they get like right up close to each other, and then one of them like gets shot, or like using like like those like repeater rifles and like hiding behind like stagecoaches and stuff.
do they do that classic Western thing where if a guy gets shot, he like does a whole like splat out display as if he got like kicked in the dick too?
I don't. They haven't really done that yet. It is definitely like it's um there's some like brutal like it's that kind of like Taylor showed in like brutal violence, like people are getting like shot in the head, and like you just see like their whole like head explode and stuff, or like especially like opening battle with like the Civil War stuff, like guys are getting like decimated in that, and then also like it turns like hand to hand where like guys are just like using hatchets on each other and stuff. So it's definitely kind of like
But you see what I mean? Like, how is that on CBS?
yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to like cut back that a little bit. Although, I mean, I guess it also depends on like what time it airs too, because I think like after like 10 o'clock, like no one gives a shit. At least like cable. I mean, at least like cable. Like 10 o'clock. Like 10 o'clock basically like any like the cable networks basically turn to like HBO. Like you just like
Yeah.
do or say whatever you want, basically. But yeah, that's it for me this week. So we can wrap things up. Definitely head over to the site. We got all of our usual features. We got news. We got all the trailers we talked about this week. We've got all of our regular features, and we're gonna have a commentary coming up in a couple weeks. We're gonna be doing the Three Musketeers, the Disney 1993 version of Three Musketeers, because it's celebrating its 30th anniversary this month. So we'll be rewatching that. And you can head over to the site and listen to our past commentaries, including last month, which was Child's. Actually, speaking of stuff that like can like do whatever they want, like Child's Play, Chucky on USA and Sci-Fi can just like they can just swear and like have brutal kills and do whatever they want, and like after 10 o'clock. But Child's Play is up there. You can listen to that, watch that along with us. We got Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. We got Saw 2. We got a whole bunch of counters that you can check out. And then, yeah, Three Musketeers coming up in a couple weeks here. And then all of our other regular features up there every day on the site. Head over and check all that stuff out. And yeah, so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week.
For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.